And like culturally, we were trained into thinking that praying hard, mag-pray ka lang. You know? Our society trained us that way. You know, like I didn't get here in Hong Kong because of prayers. I believe God. You know, I pray. In fact, I will pray later. But I got here in Hong Kong because I worked for a degree. When I heard about a job opening, you know, and I have to start as a teaching assistant, I said yes right away. I didn't pray so that my POEA requirements will be completed in a week. I worked hard on my POEE requirements on a day-to-day basis. And I converted the stress of doing my papers into stress, good stress. Because, oh, I'm going to have an overseas job. You get what I mean? So, we pray. In fact, for us, you were trained who were raised as Christians or as Muslims. One of the things that we have to remember is you pray for forgiveness and you pray to give thanks and to praise. But not to always ask for help and a miracle. Because those will not happen. So you have to be objective thinking. Like, you want to get to Hong Kong, you have to be objectively working towards that goal. Even when you're on the plane, when my first plane ride was actually my flight to Hong Kong 10 years ago. And I was scared as hell, I had this flight anxiety. And I was praying, but I realized you're already up there, So you just have to be objective, that even in the times of turbulence, there is a science towards flight. And you will not see God in the clouds. That, di ka babagsak, you're not gonna fall, I have your back, meaning your plane. No, it doesn't work that way. So, in the end, what I realized was I had to work on my own training, of being trained in psychology, that I have to actually find that kind of relaxation state, which I will talk about. Yes. So, some of the common symptoms of stress. Psychological behavioral. Yeah, so the changes in your behavior, the way you talk more, or you're not talking, or you're moody. Yeah.
Yes. High temper.
Diba? Moodiness.
High
Yeah.
temper.
Mood swings. Now, take note also the increase in heart rate and blood pressure. This is very important to know because it seemed that for us as people in the Philippines, we have a lot of hypertension cases. Many of us Filipinos have hypertension, right? And we don't even know it. You don't wait for the symptoms of hypertension. You have to be proactive already. So maybe you begin by going to the doctor again. The specialist to go to is a cardiologist, right? So unfortunately here in Hong Kong, that's very expensive. So then I guess you have to figure out if there are, I'm sorry I don't know about this, but are there medical missions on a yearly basis?
No.
Yeah, then maybe that's something to ask for. And who do you ask? You ask for the consulate, the Philippine consulate.
No. Normally, other organizations offer them.
Right. NGO always.
Okay. Because
Blood pressure test.
yes, yes,
The
We're
organizations did it.
We're doing that. You
yeah,
get free,
Sugar.
and then sugar testing.
yeah. FPS, yes. Well, you know what? Speaking of sugar testing, the accurate one is the HbA1c. HbA1c is the 3-month sugar. So you need that. That's a more expensive test compared to FPS. But FBS is not accurate. Your sugar yesterday, today may be okay, but for the last 3 months may not be. So you need to have the more accurate test,
Yeah,
right?
because I'm pre-diabetic. I'm doing that.
Right. And then for hypertension, when you measure your blood pressure, it's always problematic because one of the triggers of a higher blood pressure also is anxiety. The anticipation of your blood pressure. Yeah. You see, I'm speaking from experience also. Yeah. My parents also died of hypertension. And
Sorry.
yes, and so that's why these are the things I wasn't aware about. So like it's a trigger, right? And then I realized that I was